so cool to have you here from France.
Hello, Max. Really happy to be here with you. Hope it's a morning in California. The weather shine, I guess.
Yeah, always sunny in California. So Emmanuel, like you have 200 plus gigs a year. Why do people book you and what do you speak about? That's insane.
The good news is I've been on the market for 15 years, so I've been changing quite a lot. But I would say anything related to digital tech and innovations. So for a while it was digital marketing, and then e-commerce and social media, and then future of work, CSR, and for the past 2.5 years, definitely AI. That has been like insane.
Yeah.
Generative AI, agentic AI, traditional AI, physical AI. I think it's really impacting all the white collar jobs, from marketing to legal, from HR to sales. So, of course, there's quite a lot of questions, lots of noise, of buzz, of course, lots of experts on the topic. But I guess, yes, many brands are a bit lost, a bit slow, and need someone to filter the buzz from insights.
Okay. So today we're going to talk about like creating demand and also how to effectively use LinkedIn newsletter. And when I speak to speakers now and other entrepreneurs, like there's like, I feel it's like two camps on LinkedIn. One says it's overcrowded with all this AI content and the reach is going down. They're getting fewer likes. And then you have other people who are really doubling down because they're like, hey, I'm getting gigs from LinkedIn. It works. So what's like your take now in 2026 and what's happening with all the
I would say,
noise?
I think with everyone, we have seen the reach probably divided by 30-40% in 1 year. So yes, it's a bit depressing, but at the same time, it's definitely all out. B2B target is there. All the decision makers and managers. It has really become the new Facebook for professional, where people are every day connected, especially in the morning. So for me, it's nearly one lead a day. Probably 300,000 views a month with 43,000 followers and 23 subscribers to my newsletter. So yeah, it's super, I would say, positive in terms of, okay, time spent against noise, against real feedback and attraction for leads. Definitely one of the top source for me and for my company.
So you're doubling down still. So if a speaker commits to do like say one post per day, like what's the simplest like post formula? Do you have any like how do you create your content plan when you post on LinkedIn, especially for gigs?
I think the first thing is definitely to define your focus, because you cannot be an expert if you talk about too many things. Even me, I'm speaking on different like retail and future of work, but I'm mainly focused on Gen AI and generative AI on LinkedIn, because you want to be known a bit like you were saying in your last video on when you are the guy about that everybody is referring to. You want when someone I'm looking for a speaker about that, even your followers, even your readers say, oh no, you need to get to this person. So you need to be very clear on what you are focusing on. So that's the first thing. And I think, honestly, it's pretty easy and pretty hard too. It's a bit like sport, there are a lot of competition, but people are a bit lazy or a bit busy. It's super hard to say, like sport, I will go tomorrow and next week and never. And I think very often people start a newsletter, start a podcast, or, after 3, 4, 5, 20, they give up. Maybe because they don't have anything new to say, or it's just too much effort, or they don't have the discipline. And I think you need to have this discipline. And if you have this discipline, step by step, maybe it would take 1, 2, 3 years, but you are gathering audience that you are starting from every time you post something new. So instead of buying your audience with advertising every time, maybe you start with 10 followers and then 500 and 1,000 and 2,000. And the day you are a single speaker and you have 20,000 followers.
Yeah.
Of course, if you are not too stupid and you say something a bit new or interesting every day, there will be leads nearly every day. Sometimes it's your budget, sometimes it's your right for the topic, sometimes not. But you are like really building things. And sometimes, you could be like you independent. Sometimes like me, it's my company. Sometimes I know some speakers are even employee of company, but that's your network. So when you will be leaving your company, you will be living with your network, with your audience, so it's win-win. I'm very happy to motivate some people in my team that are also speakers to build their audience. I'm benefiting from them, but they will benefit from it when they will be leaving too. So it's a good motivation for everyone to make the effort.
Yeah, I think the consistency, like in January, I was very like posting every day and I could see like I had a lot of 1,000 views. But then in February, I was a bit busy with travel and I stopped and the views went down. So I think, consistency consistency but
And I think about regularity. If you're very regular, even Google News will pick up your LinkedIn post, which will
oh,
give you
really?
additional views, which is not too bad. Later, I think we'll talk a bit later, but I think, it's always the same. The more you practice, like in sports, the better you will become. So even if you are not talented to write, if every day, okay, I have this post to make, you will think about it in advance. You will maybe curate a few interesting picture news and dig into it, because you don't want just to publish news. You need to bring something additional to the fact, and then you will learn how to refine the title to be more impactful, and then you will think about the visuals of the video or the thumbnail of the video, because you are in a news feed competing with everyone else, and the work and Netflix and everything that getting people's attention. But I think now with Claude and ChatGPT, it's so easy to proofread, to maybe find 20 different versions of the title to try to find the best one. With Midjourney or Nano Banana, it's so easier to make a good picture, or Notebook LM for infographics. So there's all those tools that are not finding the ideas for you, but that are really augmenting you and saving times and letting you be more creative or even better at delivering content.
How's your flow? Like, so say, okay, we take like March month. Are you gonna wake up every day and think what I'm gonna write today, or do you plan out the next 30 days? How's your flow to create content on LinkedIn?
To create content, I think it's, of course, about sourcing interesting, inspiring, new insights. So for that, I'm probably following, I don't know, thousands and thousands of accounts on TikTok, LinkedIn, Twitter, and a newsletter. But the truth is, after a while, you have some newsletters that you read more often. There is, I really invite you to favorite some people on LinkedIn, so you could really have all their news, because you know those people are and very often have people from abroad, from the US, from Asia, from international, because otherwise you have the same news as everyone else. Then every time I have a moment, in the taxi, in the bus, on the train, I will read and bookmark everything. And on the weekend, when I'm doing my newsletters, and I will look back at all those bookmarks and filter what I want to publish day by day or use in my newsletter. So it's easy, because on mobile, it's very easy to bookmark LinkedIn on Twitter or even TikTok. You don't need to use them right away. It just, it's in your reading. And then, you have to have the courage to filter everything and sort out what you want to keep or not. And I think too often we tend to forget that if you want people to read you, you need to comment on other people's too, because very often you are focused on what should I publish. But, if you like people to share, comment and like, do the same. And the truth is, you could identify some potential clients if you comment very often with stupid comments, show demonstrating your value and your thought leadership with added value in those comments. To reshare some other people's content too. Could be even competitors, but good competitors, I would say. After a while, at the beginning, everybody's like, oh, we are competing. But after a while, okay, this person is trustful, this person is expert, and everybody's helping each other, recognizing the value of each other. And I think it helps the good experts be more visible. And I think, it's like karma. You need to give a lot of content. You need to like other people if you want them to share your content too and help you too.
Really so when someone likes one of your posts or comments, do you automatically connect with them? Do you do it manually? Do you write to them? Like, how do you
I could do AI, but the truth is, I'm every time I post, I'm replying to everyone. First, liking every post and replying something nice and something different to everyone. That's like a conversation, like networking at an event. If people feel you are not genuine, if you are like a robot, nobody will. And they took the time to read you. And even if sometimes you have not nice comments, I would say LinkedIn is still civilized compared to Twitter. But sometimes we'll say you put a Gen AI video and it sucks. I don't like AI. And you can reply, thanks for your comment. I get your point. point. We disagree, but it's fine. They still create some engagement for you, so you should be happy too. And yes, of course, you look at the profile of the people, and if you feel there could be some interest, I will add them. The only issue is I've reached 30,000 contacts, and I cannot go over. So you can have more followers, so I have to remove people every week that are maybe a
Wow.
little less dedicated. So that's a good issue, but it's still an issue.
Okay, but like for example, like say if somebody comments on your post and you look at their profile and you think like, here's a good speaker opportunity, I should speak at this company. How do you move it from the LinkedIn post to a conversation about the
I'm
speaking gig? Or
probably
do you
not
wait
the
for your
best. I'm probably not the best for that because I never contact anyone to speak.
Okay.
My point of view is more create a lot of value, share a lot of videos, slides, content, get people to know you, know your expertise, be convinced, and when they are ready and they want to work with you, you know, reply to their request instead of talking to hundreds of people that don't care, that don't know you, that are not interested yet, or they don't have a need. I prefer to let them take the time to know me, and when they're convinced I'm the right speaker, I'm the right expert, they have a budget, they're ready, and they contact me, and very often there is not even an RFP. You know, for me, it's like you have 20,000 conversations at the same time when you publish something. So it's amazing because for them, they feel they know you more and more, and you didn't really invest more than the content. Yeah. So yeah, it works if you can massively share quite a lot. On top of that, at my company, we do training and conferences. So I have 30 conferences. I'm always speaking 20 minutes at. So it's a good way to start to attract some visibility.
Get that, yeah. And
then every time like you have an invitation for a podcast, interview, an article, white paper, I'm always saying yes, which sometimes on my weekends, my wife is damning myself. But I think, you know, you never know. It's like fishing, you know, open opportunities, try to always say yes, try to be helpful, and you never know what will happen. Maybe in 5 years, someone will call me back. But, you know, I feel like a farmer, the more you spread seeds, you have never any guarantee for any seeds, but you know, the more you plant, the more you know, there is more certainty that there will be something arriving back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I hope to. I really appreciate you coming, Emmanuel. I have a lot of agents also in my email newsletter. So when we're done this episode, I hope you will get some. Those seeds will flourish into something. And talking about an e-newsletter, so how do you build yours? Because you have like around 23,000, I think on it. So how do you build your e-newsletter, and what goes inside? And also, the content is like, when you write the content, do you want to build yourself as an expert, or do you like specifically try to get content so people like, oh, I should have him as a speaker? Like, can you tell me a bit about that process?
For me, it's first thinking about the value and the content. And if you have good content, I'm always putting some call to action. But I think if they feel that you deliver more value than promotion, your promotion is fine, or even they will think about you. Years ago, I tried to have one with email and with MailChimp and everything, but you know, HTML was so much time to put everything. And the thing is, it was on our website. After a while, I get bored. I even asked my junior to manage it for me. So it was not even me. It was not even my expertise anymore. And you see that with emails, very often you lose people because, you know, they forget to unsubscribe, they change companies, you lose their contacts. So it was not growing that much. And I realized, okay, the truth is, if people subscribe, it needs to be me. I'm the expert in the company. So I'm the one that should look at all the news, and maybe in the end tell my junior, okay, this is the 5 news you should really look at. I'll filter everything for you. So the newsletter now with LinkedIn, the beauty of it, it's visible on LinkedIn, still sent by email from LinkedIn. But in terms of virality, it's very easy to share. People, if they feel you really bring value, they will share your newsletter, like and comment, which will spread your visibility on their feeds. And honestly, I think I gained 30 or 40 followers a day on my account, and on newsletter is probably I don't know, 100 or 200 per maybe 300 per month. So it's really worse. And okay, at lots of competition, you know, AI and newsletter on LinkedIn is crazy. So I was thinking, you know, how could I be useful, or what can I do that nobody else will do? And what I do is basically I read every newsletter, every news, I compile everything. I have around 150 to 200 news every 15 days. Nobody do it because it takes one fucking day, and nobody wants to do that every 2 weeks. Therefore, many people read me feel, okay, why reading all the other newsletter? Because he's reading everything and gathering all the news together in one single newsletter. So it's a bit insane. I'm not sure it's very, I would say, smart or efficient, but dare to do some things that nobody else will do. And the truth is, I'm using it anyway to curate my expertise for my trainings, for my keynotes. So I still need to know everything. So it's not only for my newsletter. It's like a double opportunity, using it for my daily jobs and using it for my newsletter. But of course, I think the hardest is regularity. I think Monday will be the 85th number. Every 2 weeks, even during Christmas, even during summer holidays, because you don't want, if you lose 2 weeks, it would be 500 news. Very often, I'm reaching the maximum amount of LinkedIn number of characters. So it's a bit insane. And the good news too, you could put players, like video players, and I think it's very useful to the audience. You have, when you talk about the news, you find the right videos and everything, and you put a bit of call to action within it. But no, I'm really delighted, and I've seen, if I'm looking on the French market and international company in France, like L'Oréal, LVMH, and many others, I know all the head of AI are reading me, which is super useful.
Cool. That's
because
cool.
At least I have like their support when they need some speaker internally. They will probably even promote myself because they trust me, because I've been there for 2 years, delivering every 2 weeks the same amount of content. And I think that's how that's like a media. You if you want to be trusted, you need to be regular. The quality need to be there. You need to be disciplined, even the day you don't feel like it. If you do deliver, most of your competitors won't. And they will probably collapse. So yeah, that's the extensive way of doing it. So
it's pretty insane, and that's a really dedicated commitment. But to take it like 2 steps back, for those who don't know, like I just also now found out like LinkedIn has a e-newsletter function. Can you just tell like 1 minute about like how it works? And okay, it's 300 euros per month, and you basically, can you collect emails when you do it on LinkedIn? So
I don't think you have to. Do you have to pay for LinkedIn?
Oh no, the email newsletter. So you mentioned you do it through LinkedIn or not?
No.
Like
I'm just saying, when you do through LinkedIn, they will send it by email too for you.
Okay, yeah.
So it's not only on LinkedIn; it's still sent by email to people. So which is nice. No. So for me, LinkedIn is free. It's more the amount of time you put into it. As I mentioned, I guess I could sponsor some posts, but I don't.
Okay.
It's 99% organic anyway. Sometimes you are very happy. Sometimes you're depressed because you spend a lot of time doing one post. But that's the game.
Yeah. But like for your new e-newsletter, where do I subscribe? Like what's the flow? Do you use a software like Mailchimp or Klaviyo?
No. You go on my LinkedIn page, and you will have my newsletter and a subscribe button. If you create a newsletter through LinkedIn, never forget that you need to add yourself the link on the top of your page, and then in one click you can subscribe. And the beauty is, if people change companies and change email, you don't care, because you are connected to LinkedIn forever. Unless they remove you, which makes things way easier than to update a CRM or update a contact book, because people are changing jobs so often that you are not losing time to update your contact books.
Cool. And you send it 2 times a month, right? Or 2 times a month?
Every 2 weeks, because I my wife one weekend without newsletter, so and me too.
And okay, you talk about Gen I. So, like, for example, like if you were in front of 100 speakers and you will say like, "Hey guys, I want to share like 3 useful workflows for speakers for improving title hooks and repurposing video content," like, if what would you share to other speakers that are really cool tools that are easy to use right now?
Well, of course, ChatGPT, but even Claude, I think now is better for brainstorming, writing or rewriting some posts and so on. And Deep Search, which is amazing on
Yeah.
Gemini, ChatGPT, Claude to help you do some searches. But I think Notebook now is amazing, Notebook LM, because you have deep search inside it. But not only can you put documents, so it can help you find documents and video and so on, but you can even put videos, and there's an extension called a Chrome extension called Notebook to Facebook, where basically you can take all the video, let's say from an event. So 50 videos, like I took, for example, Davos, I was 200 videos. And in one click, you put them into a folder in Notebook LM, and then you can chat with all this content. So suddenly you can create like mini RAG, like mini folders of topics. And when you want to dig into the news. And so for example, for me at Davos, it was, okay, within the 200 talks, find me the one talking about AI, which was only 15. And what was said, can you summarize? And then I could know where to look for the right insight and the right information. And now you can even generate, of course, podcasts and little videos, but you can generate slides with a new version. So it's in Notebook, it's in Nano Banana. So for now, you cannot edit those slides, but Kodia has a little service, which is like 5 cents a slide, that will turn every Nano Banana visuals, infographics, or slides into editable PowerPoints, which will save you quite a lot of time, because sometimes, of course, the idea is not to do everything from your side, but you want to do some drawings, you want some illustration, you want an infographics, and this infographic sometimes has some mistakes, or you want to translate it from one language to another. So there you can really generate them with Notebook and pick up what you like, what you don't like, avoiding to have an illustrator, for example, which is like super useful. Midjourney and Nano Banana, of course, for visuals. A very good tip if you have to translate slides. In France, we're always switching between French and English all the time. I'm using Delos. And Delos, basically, it's like a private ChatGPT, but they have Delos Translate, and you can put a whole deck. And in 4 minutes, you get the whole presentation with all the design respected, all the fonts, and translated in French, in English, in Spanish, and whatever you want. Maybe there is 2% of the content you need to fine tune, but saving my ass quite often, because in French you can have like people say, present in French, do the slide in English. That's the opposite 2 days in advance. So it gives you some flexibility. And of course, Claude or ChatGPT to always proofread the presentation when you are done, because there's always some typos, some spelling mistakes, and even people don't even think about it, but you can really say, okay, how could I make these charts or these slides better? Because sometimes you have a complex infographics or charts, and they can really look at your slides. And so sometimes I'm just taking one slide and say, how can I improve these slides? And they will say, you should put 2 arrows here. You should change this and this and this. And it's amazing, because sometimes, you are so much into it. You don't see anything anymore. And it's like you have a sparring partner that can give you ideas. You pick them up or not, but, which is amazing. And the last one is Glasp. It's an extension for YouTube, a Chrome extension for YouTube, where basically it can transcribe any videos and send the transcribe into Claude or ChatGPT. And sometimes, let's say if you don't feel like listening 1 hour or 2 hours of videos and you want a summary, which I think now you can do with Gemini anyway, transcribing YouTube. But I think sometimes it's super useful, because there is some talks like you where it's filled up of insights, so it's fine. But sometimes there is some you feel, okay, I just want a rough summary. Or just find something about this topic into, so very helpful. So there is just so many tools.
Oh my! I can't believe that 3 years ago we were sitting and doing all of this stuff manually. Like sometimes I'm shocked. Like when we,
I think the next step for me is really the whole slide design, because you have Claude in PowerPoint arriving. Not as good as Claude in Excel. You have Gamma, of course, but you can still recognize the slides. Notebook for infographics, amazing, and for little charts or illustration, amazing, because it's not only a design. He will understand the meaning of the slides and create a joke in the chart. And if you look at Kimi, GenSpark, those agents or LLM from China, they are able to build presentations. So then you have to be really good on the prompts to explain them the design. And I think Google Slides in the coming few months should be able to generate slides based on a template too. So the good news is we'll have to focus more on the content, on the pace, on the interaction, and probably to be selective in the design, but spend less time building the design of the illustration ourselves.
I'm using an AI tool now in Envato Elements, and what I usually do in Keynotes, like I have hello written in kind of like Lego blocks format, and then I take a picture of the location we're at, and I make those Lego blocks animate, like they fall apart, and then they animate and build themselves up into this building where we're at. And I say, and in the speech, I'm saying, I'm so happy to be here. And everybody's like, how did you do that? And it looks really cool. And everybody's like, whoa. And
at least you grab people's attention from start.
Yeah, and it takes me like 1 minute to do this, and this before this would be like an animator who would charge like 2K to do it and sit the whole week. So yeah, for graphics, but I still think like most people are not graphic designers, like so they can play around. But it could be good to have a graphic designer to look through to see that you are coherent and it's nice. But there's so many things we can do to take an old slide and make it so much better. Sadly, a lot of people are still stuck with.
I'm not using it, but Canva is improving pretty fast on AI too. So,
I'm using Canva. It's getting better, but I feel like in some ways Canva is a bit behind. That it's still
they were,
but still like
But even to be frank, PowerPoint and Keynote were really behind. They've made so much money for years with barely changing nothing into the software. So it's time to have some competition, because how many people are using PowerPoint and Keynote in the world? It's amazing, and they didn't do that much innovation after animated GIF and very basic stuff. So it was time.
Okay, to wrap things up, Emmanuel, thank you for your time. It's kind of like you mentioned when we talked previously, like sometimes when you speak at a big event with many potential bookers, you give them, we usually give a short keynote, but you leave them wanting more. Like, how do you balance that with, because I always go on stage and want to give huge value, but how do you balance that with you giving huge value, but you want them more, so they book you for an internal speaking?
Yeah, I think at our conferences, we try to keep the pace pretty quick and never to have keynotes above 20 minutes for me or for any guest speakers. So the idea is to, my pace is normally 2 slides a minute, could be even be 3, video included, which is pretty quick, but it's only 1 key ID by slide. So I prefer to have many with 1 key ID per slide. So it's pretty dynamic, it's pretty engaging. Of course, they realize I have way more content and I'm summarizing the key, I would say, insight for them. So it's a good way to say, okay, we had a lot in 20 minutes. Because it's very quick. But at the same time, we feel, that would be amazing if he could join our company for 1 hour, 1 hour 30 and have way more time. And very often I'm bringing news from, I went to CS in Vegas, NRF for retail in New York, Slush, South by Southwest, GITEX in Dubai, Hannover Messe for industry. So we travel quite a lot and we bring all those insights that are hot, kind of. And when we do this, it's mostly non-paid conferences where we are guests or our own. So I'm okay to give a part of my insights, but of course the idea is to fragment the demand after that. If there is several companies within, which is different from one company paying you for their a bespoke version and a longer version. What I do too is every time I'm speaking to a mix of companies, not for one single companies, I put a QR code at the beginning and the end of the presentation saying, don't stress, you could download the slides. Because for me, it's very frustrating to say I present, I don't give you the slides. I'm very quick. So it's like, don't stress, take the time to listen. From the beginning, you see you can download the slides. Therefore, you have a form. You attract the contacts that, of course, you can still push your news every 3 months with your new talks and things like that. And I think it's a good way to contact and respect the audience. And when you have been invited for free, at least you can catch some interesting contact and offer them a dedicated keynote after that, for example.
What's your flow like? Do they do you just collect emails? Do you try to get phone numbers too, or like what's the flow?
I think I don't do phone. I think in France, if you call people that don't really know you, people hate phone call. So no, it's mostly send them a newsletter, LinkedIn with your news. And once again, I'm not very pushy. I'm like, this is what I do. When it will be the right time, I will keep you updated if you want every 3 months. And I think you cannot force people to book you if not the right time or the right opportunity. So it's important to stay top of mind for when it will be the moment they don't forget you. But it's more like, creating the connection and then updating them regularly, not only with your commercial promotion, but more with insights around your topic. And when they will feel like it, and I know at least for AI, it's nearly every company interested. It's a bit easier. They will think about you and of course probably send you an email and other things too. Make it easy for people to reach you. My phone number is everywhere. You want to, on Facebook, LinkedIn, I'm super open. And I've very limited scam or spam. So people are pretty respectful, and I prefer to remove 2 stupid colors and not miss someone that has an emergency for a speaker next week because very often it's not very well organized, and sometimes it's just. You need to be a good speaker, but sometimes if you are the most responsive or the easiest to reach, you will get the gig. Just because the other one, you don't know where to reach them. They have a speaker bureau that will reply in 1 week. And so make it easy for people. I remember a very good speaker. I can't remember his name, but he had a flashy yellow stickers on bottom of every slide with his contacts on every slide. And maybe it's a bit over the top, but why not?
Why not? Yeah,
make it easy for people to contact you.
How do you get those emails? Like, so you're in conference, people scan the QR code and they sign up for his newsletters. Does that go to your LinkedIn newsletter, or do you have to push it? Like, is there a manual?
I have a more, because my newsletter is only on GenAI. So we have another newsletter operated by my team with more information about
so you drive traffic
other
there.
business. But of course, in this newsletter, I will promote my other newsletter too if it's on GenAI. But now I have a separated, I would say, mailing list, which is not really a newsletter. That is a bit more promotional.
Do you have an agent or?
No,
a bureau that represents you?
No. The thing is, with the company, with all our conferences, with all the learning expedition, the trend reports, we have a pretty massive reach. For now, my issue is more to build my team of other speakers in my company to deliver, to deal with the demand, because sometimes it can be, I think the worst week will be 7 keynotes a week. Normally it's less than that, but the worst week it could be. Just on GenAI, in 3 years, we have trained 50,000 people. So sometimes it's keynote, sometimes it's days of training. So of course, I have a team that I'm training and that is delivering some of my speech when I'm not available, or some of the training with me or without me. And sometimes it's crazy events. We did one for Adeco. It was 1,600 people in one morning. So you had 8 rooms of 200 people. So, formats could be very different. Sometimes it's giant keynote. Sometimes, as morning, smaller or CEOs or executive committees. So you have to adapt. But we are always open to business. Huh?
Yeah. Well, actually, one cool thing is, like, when I send out slides afterwards, because I also always send out slides, I adjust them a bit. I remove those that I have for visual purpose only, that doesn't serve them when they read them when I'm not on stage. And but I have 6.7 slides a minute, so it's I think we're
You're
both
even
high
faster
tempo.
than me.
But I started to add like I always record like a short video, like just 45 seconds. If it's and at the second slide, if it's was an internal event, I say like, hey guys, it was so cool to meet you. I hope you take this information and just go. I gave like a personal notes. But if it's a conference where it was like a lot of different companies, then I pitch myself more in. I'm like, hey, I hope you liked my talk, and
Is
they
fair.
did because
I see.
yeah. And they liked it because they asked for the slides. And then I just say like, if your company is like really passionate about like making a good journey for Gen Z, and sometimes I do workshops with companies where we map out the onboarding journey. Sometimes we do this. So hey, feel free to grab a coffee with me and we can talk. So and those 30 seconds just to plant the seed that I actually do workshops too. It generated some good leads in the past.
Yeah, and I
Without
think
being pushy
sometimes
or
no, but I think sometimes it's just important to just say what you can deliver, because
yeah.
you feel, oh, I don't want to over, but they're not going to guess for you. So sometimes you just say, oh, by the way, I have a 1 hour format, 1 day format, workshop format. Feel free to contact me if you need to, but it's still good to tell them that maybe you have other topics too.
Cool. Well, Emma, thank you so much for today. I'm going to finish with one last question, and that is like, I forgot to ask you, how do you open and close your talks? Like you mentioned QR code, but what's like your opening line? I ask all the speakers this because it's so interesting.
Opening line,
yeah.
I don't think I have an opening line. I think very often I introduce myself so people understand where I'm talking from, what my position as an analyst, kind of on the topic. But no, I think from one presentation to another, I would try to have a video or something funny or a surprising fact, or trying to kind of break the boredom and okay, let's focus on there is something happening. But now nothing, no usual gimmick. I think I adapt to the event or to the audience. So no, sorry, no special tricks on this part.
Cool. Okay. And the closing, do you have like a line you do like you encourage them to do something, or like how do you usually close the talk?
I think for me it's always a slap on something nice. No, but you need to kind of shock them a bit to remember you and remember your message, to say, okay, I don't know, on Gen AI, the train has already departed and it's really speeding fast, but it's not too late. And if you do this, I think you don't want to make them depressed or to look like I know more than anyone else and you're stupid, which is not the case. But still to tell them, okay, big companies are a bit slower, so you might need to accelerate a bit. But at the same time, no one is totally at full speed. So maybe look at this or this or this to start with. And I think telling them like sports that, start by practicing a few minutes personally a week. And you will go, if you do it regularly for 1 year, you will do way better than someone that do one marathon a year. So I think it's because very often for them, it's like, well, it looks so much stuff. Where should I start with? It's too complicated for me. Yes, it is, but you don't need to train for the Olympic Games right away. You can start with use ChatGPT and or Claude, do a few pictures, and you will realize maybe finding 1 or 2 prompts that is useful to them, that it's feasible, because you don't need to learn how to program. Those tools are honestly easy to start with, which is amazing, because you don't need, it's not a 3D software or programming. So talk about your job, legal, HR, marketing. It's pretty easy. So I try to be positive in that state.
Okay, I like that. I like that one. Well, thank you so much for taking the time this on a Saturday. I really, really appreciate it. And I think there's a lot of golden nuggets that people can
and
implement
maybe
here.
A final,
let's go.
A final word or final advice. If you want to become a speaker, I think many more people could become one, but just find a topic you could speak about for months, or for many posts, because if you get bored easily, you might talk about it for years if you're good. So make sure you're really passionate. If it's only because it's trendy right now, you don't like it, you're going to get bored. I think use social media, build an audience. build an audience. Whatever you will do within a company outside, your audience will move with you. And if this audience like you, trust you, they will make so much stuff for you. And basically, I like karma, take care of your audience, give them as much as you can, because I think if you provide a lot, they will support you, they will send you leads, they will recommend you so many times in the future when you are not expecting it. I think it's like friends, your audience, you need to take care of them, you need to be interesting or entertaining. And of course, it's easier when it's your key topic or your passion topic.
Yeah, and I still think LinkedIn, like 2026, is the best one. Like, there's no other network, there's no other place where you can
TikTok,
see where they work, what they do.
Yeah, if you dare to film yourself, TikTok or YouTube could still be super useful, but it's quite an investment to do videos, I think. But there's some people leveraging the platform pretty well.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, and have a great weekend. Have some good time with your wife and enjoyed it, and
thank you, Max.
Say sorry
Have
from
a
me.
nice travel.
Say sorry from me.
Sure. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Hey, I hope you liked this episode. If you are a speaker and you already have paid gigs, but you want more, bigger stages and more consistency in the amount of bookings, we work one-on-one with speakers to help them get more gigs and increase their sales. Check out Become a Speaker NO in the link below. If you're just starting out or you have had a few gigs and you want to really become a successful public speaker, check out our 8-week bootcamp. Here, we help speakers create their speaker reel, website, positioning, beautiful presentation with amazing slides, storyline, and also land that first big paid speaking gig. Check out the 8-week program below. And I'm always excited to work with passionate speakers who have a very interesting story and valuable advice to share.